If there was ever any doubt that my SP felt me and was in my thoughts, that message right there solidified it all for me. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In case you're new here, my name is Kim. This is Core Union. I just wanted to come on quickly before my sessions start for today with reading one of my clients' emails to me. This is beautifully written. Before I do get into this, please remember that when you listen to stories, success stories of unfolding and movement, you have to stop monitoring your 3D as being your evidence, and you need to just start monitoring your own internal being. You need to monitor your own feelings and allow the 3D. This is how I manifest everything in my reality. Allow the 3D to always be a very real feeling mirror. And it's always signposts directing you to what you want. So when things are going against you, what do you want? If there's a deep trigger, express the emotions, whether it's anger, frustration, or sadness, express it, detach it from the thing that you're manifesting, whether it's money, health, your SP, another specific person who isn't necessarily a deep soul connection, detach. Go within and do a little revision while that little part of you is active. Do a little revision where somebody in your reality caused you harm, because that's the person that the baggage is deriving from. That's the root cause. Do a little revision. Allow yourself to be seen and heard. Allow yourself to be apologized to. This is not something you have to go searching for to be on a lifelong healing journey. I'm going to read this now. Again, I'm going to say as much as I can. So my client wrote, "Hi, Kim. So this will be a very long email. So much has happened since our last chat." This was around June 11th. So let me build the timeline here. On April 22nd, we had our second separation. And with that, it put me in an emotional place I hadn't experienced before. I wouldn't say that I wasn't devastated, because I was, but this time it was different. My past relationships, before I understood the law of assumption, that we truly are the creators of our life, I had found myself in a panic, begging and pleading for the person not to do this, asking them why, that I didn't understand. I couldn't let it go. And I would go back and forth with not wanting to accept that person's decision to end things. And I would end up accepting the circumstances of the 3D outcome. This time it was very different. And I realized this was now the beginning of the true unraveling within myself. That is a key. It is within herself. I knew I had created this. I knew all of my dominant thoughts leading up to this point were created by me, only to see then, only to then see my fears play out outside of me. It was a sadness I hadn't felt before, not of desperation or wanting to reach out and beg him back like I did before, but a sadness for him and for us. I knew in my heart that this wasn't it. I wasn't accepting the story, these circumstances. This wasn't my end. And I'm just going to say this. I read this already and I cried like a fool. And I'm not going to cry while I read this, because my eyelids are super puffy and itchy because of it. But this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story. Okay. So I need to just like set myself here, because I am not going to cry while I read this at all, because I've already got that out of my system. But I do, like, there is something in this story that I relate very deeply to. Okay. The look of confusion on his face, almost like he was compelled to end this relationship, not understanding why himself. I was looking at him through the FaceTime call and could see the pain in his eyes and the confusion, but it had to be done. And so it was. I had remembered all of our sessions, all of the videos of your teachings. If you remember, I originally reached out to you about my old SP, and by the time of our first session came around, which was 6 weeks, I had just started dating this SP, my true mirror soul, which is what I ended up finding out. And no, not everybody is in this experience, okay? Some people are just looking to lightly date somebody. It's not necessarily a mirror soul experience. And yes, mirror soul experiences are true. Okay, sorry, I had to say that. I got to find myself now. Oh my goodness. Okay. I had grown so much more in understanding self-concept of self by watching your video since our first session, and I had found myself looking to be open to dating someone else. With my old SP, the story I held, the pain, things my new self wouldn't have accepted, even though I created that too, not realizing it. This is powerful. Nothing is a coincidence. You came right on time into my life like God had sent you to begin this journey with me, which would change everything. My old self was going to embark on a transformation of the greatest love of my entire lifetime. And I can affirm this because this love, this beautiful love, is my mirror soul. And he broke me wide open to reflect on myself, to see the patterns I had held for decades. This is so powerful. This is the quote that found me. And there is this quote that found me, and this relates to you as my teacher and my coach. And this really was very touching too. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And when the student is truly ready, the teacher will disappear. Not that you fully disappeared, but my package had ended. And I knew that I had to go into this in the silence, like Neville had said right after all of his lectures. There are no coincidences. I know this now deep within me. The night I prayed to God, I relate to this on such a deep level, you have no idea. The night I prayed to God, asking him to show me my husband, please bring him to me, God. I said, I am ready to receive him. During my prayer, I had pictured this man, very tall, dark hair, down to his build, everything from the type of clothes he wore, how he carried himself, his personality. And I remembered naming out the values and the qualities in such description that I would know when I met him. This is exactly what happened with me. Though I started writing it out on a piece of paper, and then my SP was exactly everything that I wrote out to such scary detail. I had even had a scene in my mind walking in a room with all of my friends and family with him by my side, and all of them telling me all these wonderful things about him and how I was glowing with pure joy. That scene ended up being my 40th birthday celebration in a room almost identical to the one in my mind. There are no coincidences. I truly believe God brought you into this journey with me, as I have expressed on all of our calls. You have been with me since the beginning of this relationship. And it is truly, by the way, it's such an honor for you and for all of my clients to be part of your journeys. You have prepared me, thought me things. Wow, that was powerful right there. You have prepared me, thought me things, helped me navigate my inner self, allowing myself to look within and to tend to my wounds, my triggers, my fears. I was basically learning to recreate myself back to the original form, my true authentic self. I can't get over how the depth of this writing. You uncovered the limiting beliefs I had carried within myself that were not easy to find on my own. I just have to stop and say, I'm so grateful for you. You have no idea. This had truly been the beginning of the reconstruction of self. It it was a brick by brick breakdown, and my SP blasting the wall right down, knowing that I had to be the one to clean up the mess of my past. And they do this because they love us so much, by the way, even if it doesn't feel like that in the 3D. It did feel at times that I was making progress with my inner work and beliefs. And then a day or two would come that I would just hit the wall. I would cry in the shower, but still go on about my day. 100% same here. I would cry during my visualizations, but still go on about my day. I wouldn't cry out of sadness. I would cry because of the deep love, the encompassing love I was feeling in my soul for him and for us. Amen. I knew he was feeling it too. That's exactly. So this is such a deep thing that a lot of you guys need to really realize, okay? Same goes for me. When I do my inner work and I'm feeling it deeply, I know my SP is feeling it too. It's not a question, is he? We are one. So, and my client here, as we're reading, she understands this. She's grasping this. I knew even, I knew even when there was no movement and the silence was so loud, I knew that this love was my love, more than I could ever even express in words. And this is that when you know, you know. Okay. I am him and he is me. We share the same soul. I know, like I know, like I know. And there was no going back. Amen. Let me just pause here for a second. I know a lot of people in the law of assumption community may not believe in soulmates because the truth is, yes, we are all one. So they go very hard in that belief, but is my personal experience, and what I also see with clients and other people, is that if you do believe in these deep soul connections, and that is an experience that you want to have in your reality, then you will actually be living through that belief. And so you will have that experience in your reality. It's really black and white, period, point blank. That's just the way it is. It's your refusal to believe that you're having that experience that is actually keeping it from you. Anyway, there's no going back once you understand all this, how you're the creator of your life. And if you give up, you're only giving up on yourself and your person. Honestly, you have no choice but to continue to persist and persist. 2 whole months, I was in the middle of a meditation and he had reached out. So while she was in the middle of the meditation, after 2 months of silence, he reached out, "Hey, are you doing all right?" I replied yes and asked him the same. He then said, "Same. You've been on my mind," and I felt the urge to break the silence. I didn't mean to go radio silent altogether, but figured it might help to heal things. If there was ever any doubt that my SP felt me and was in my thoughts, that message right there solidified it all for me. I reached out to him the next day, asking him if we could have a chat. I had made sure before I had taken that action that no matter what the outcome, I would remain in peace. That is perfect. Somehow his read receipt was on now, which I had never been enabled, but it was. I could see that he had read my text, and within an hour, he reached out saying yes in so many words. He FaceTimed me, and it was wonderful. We ended up talking for over an hour as he was driving, and it was one of the best FaceTime calls. That was one of my visualizations. We both were beaming at the sight of each other. I know, oh my God, I totally relate to this. We have an undeniable attraction towards each other, like we never ever experienced with anyone. So there was that. The call was just catching up. I also thanked him for breaking up with me. I had told him that the last couple months had been an eye-opening experience. I had times during our relationship in my mind where I projected my past traumas on our relationship, that I had allowed fear to creep in where there wasn't any need for that, or how I was preparing myself to get ready for the upset like I had felt so many times before in my life. Me too. That my unhealed wounds were beginning to create a false story from an ego narrative I had running in the background. I had told him that I still loved him and that I love his soul and that our relationship was nothing but amazing. And he looked at me with such awe and told me how he loved my soul too, which he said many times before in our relationship. I had then told him I haven't let go of the idea of us. And I had also told him my heart still belongs to you and there has been no one else. And this is what I love about this, is because anytime when me and my SP ended up talking after any kind of separation, we would end up saying this to each other too. He told me there hadn't been anyone else for him either, and that he had decided that he's come to the conclusion that he was going to wait for a little while until a specific thing happened in his reality before being in a relationship. And she knew that that was coming from her thoughts. So she knew it was just a mirror, so she wasn't going to worry about that. I said in my mind, circumstances don't matter, and neither did that comment. Okay. I was beaming while I was on the call, flirting back and forth like we normally do. And he said he had to go because if he stayed on the phone looking at me too much longer, he was going to go crazy, telling me he wanted to reach right through the phone to love all over me. That week, he had the annual family trip. There was no contact for almost 2 weeks later. I continued to stay in my end doing the work and holding the feeling. I continued to affirm, and this time affirmed that while he was on the trip with his family, it would be different. He would be thinking of me, of his life, and wanting me to be there as his companion, his woman. He would be healing as well and thinking about his future with me. He reached out asking to see me. He'd been thinking about me nonstop the whole trip. And there were these things he was coming to realize, like just how lonely he was in his life, and things were coming to the surface from his past that he had thought he had already healed from. I personally experienced this exact same thing. See, this is the confirmation that when the healing journey begins, and it is your true other half, your mirror soul, they begin the healing journey too. And while the healing, this is just what I'm saying, and while this healing journey happens between the two of you guys, some of the things that are said and some of the things that happen in your 3D may appear to go against a life together. Okay. You just have to remain in trust. I am literally healing our connection. Yes, you are. If you're the one conscious of this, then you're the one that's responsible for the healing. Again, not you don't have to be on a lifelong healing journey though. Your 3D is showing you everything that you need to heal, and healing doesn't have to take a long time. It can be just like instant as soon as you see whatever it is that you don't want. I keep interjecting my little thoughts here. So anyway, I got to say this. I am literally healing our connection. What an amazing blessing and dedication of this deep love. Healing me is healing him and healing us. That just inspired me even more. Within a couple of days, I went to his place for an overnight stay. I had also visualized the scene most nights before going to bed for months. I had started to get so excited, and while on the way to his place, my old thoughts started to creep in, and they were coming in fast. This was the first time we had seen each other since the separation. Of course, I kept telling myself this is not the story and continued to do so. But this slow hum feeling of fear continued to stay within me. I became nervous and worried, and realizing I was allowing my old beliefs to do what they had always done, scare me. They were telling me this is too good to be true. Ugh, the frustration I started to feel with myself. For months, I had been doing the work. I continued to do my best, knowing it was still the purge, that this is still the middle, and to do my best in the moment. The moment we saw each other, the hugs, the kisses, just everything like how we always are when we're together. We just flow together. Of course, we ended up getting together, and the passion, the connection we have was completely back, like it had never left, because it never actually did. This is so profound. And I'm seeing the time. I do believe I'm probably going to have to make a part 2 of this video because there's still quite a lot to be told with this. So I'm just going to finish this paragraph, and then I'm probably going to end this, and I will film the rest of this later on today or tomorrow. So I'm not meaning to put you guys on a cliffhanger, but unfortunately I do have a client starting. So we had the best night, and in the morning we had coffee, our normal routine. He was leaving again to go out of town, and for the next couple of weeks he would be traveling. Nothing was talked about before except him expressing he was in this place. He felt lonely in his life, and he couldn't understand why he was just not happy, and that he hadn't been in. At that moment, I allowed the 3D to get me, and my heart just sank, and then said in the most loving way, well, I'm still here, and I'm not giving up on us or our love. I can't give up. Just keep your heart open and know that. Okay, that's beautiful. So now I'm going to mark this, and I will create a part 2 video. Thank you for sending that in. And for you guys who are listening to this video, stop allowing your 3D circumstances to control you. Stop looking to your 3D for evidence and look within yourself, because as you have the shifts within yourself, that's all you need to be doing. And then your 3D will reflect it back to you. But if you're doing the inner work and you're like, I know how to manifest, I know exactly how to manifest, but I'm not seeing movement, then there's a little self-concept issue right there that you have to understand. You don't look to your 3D for evidence ever. You just don't, because you realize that your inner world is your outer world. You realize that your 3D is reflecting you. So you only enjoy living your life, and you especially enjoy the bliss of doing your inner work. And if you are feeling like your inner work is hard, then maybe you're looking at it like it's work, and it's not. You are creating. So when you love yourself, your self-concept of loving yourself and your self-concept of being the operant power of your reality, those are the most important things for you to focus on. Some of you guys are trying to go past that. I have you tap into power first, and then love yourself and value yourself and cherish yourself and be proud of yourself. And literally think about all the things that you're grateful for, who you are, for all of your qualities, for your values. Like you're loving yourself inside and out deeply, deeply and fiercely. And you're also loving the highest and best version of your person deeply and fiercely. And you're allowing yourself to love yourself unconditionally. And you're allowing yourself to know that everyone in your reality loves you. But of course, especially your person, because you guys were created. You were literally designed and programmed to love each other unconditionally. And I know that in the 3D, you may have gotten a different experience that didn't reflect that, but that's because you hadn't been loving yourself unconditionally. So, most important thing, And I have actually another client success story that I'll be coming out with maybe in a few days. She's going to email me. If she forgets to email me, it's okay. I remember, I think, enough to be able to make the video. That the number one most important thing is that you're loving yourself unconditionally. You are loving yourself unconditionally. You're not validating yourself by whether someone, anything, or anyone outside of you is loving you. Because when you love yourself unconditionally and you realize that it's your consciousness that created your 3D experience with this SP or anyone else in your reality and all experiences, then you will stop looking at your 3D and start looking within. So if you want unconditional love with your specific person, then you have to love yourself unconditionally, forgive them, forgive yourself for creating whatever it is that it happened. Go within, love yourself unconditionally, focus most of your energy on prioritizing yourself and your life and being the best version of you. Knowing that while I'm doing this, knowing that the self concept is the most important part of this, then after that, you realize that you're healing the connection and that everything is changing from within. As it's changing within with you, it's changing within with your SP. And again, this might not be, if you're just lightly dating somebody, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. I know that some of you guys want me to create videos on lightly dating, but maybe I will, maybe I should start making those videos, but it's just, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just like focus on your self-concept and just see that everyone in your reality wants you and loves you and whatever, you have all the options in the world. When you love yourself deeply and unconditionally and you heal by just seeing the stuff come up and doing some revision, and then knowing that while you're doing the inner work, it's working and not looking to your 3D to know if it's working, you will get ahead of this. But you may have a little bit of momentum that you've already created if you've been on this for years or months and you've been doing it in the other way of just making it all about your person, all about your person, all about everything that's external from you, as if, everything is separate from you. You're seeing life from the place of separation, thinking that you're separate from everything else in your reality, and then doing all your affirmations like, oh, I got to keep doing more affirmations for them, more affirmations for them. I don't think this is working. It's not working. I better meditate longer. I better meditate harder. No, you are monitoring your own inner feeling. You want to love yourself deeply and allow yourself to be loved deeply. Okay. I love you. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Nothing can come, nothing can come, nothing can come between us.